Well, good morning. This is Deb from Just Do Something Homestead, and look what we finally woke up to. One of the reasons that we chose West Virginia was precisely for the cold weather and the snow, because I absolutely love snow. Believe it or not, we are looking straight at the huge mountain on the north side of our property, and you know what? You really can't even see it. It is snowing so hard in between here and the mountain. Now, the snow does put a damper on some of my plans. I wasn't able to go to work today, but instead I am going to make some homemade cornmeal, and I hope you will tag along. I am back in the house, and what I'm going to do is dry some corn to make cornmeal. And I always keep some cornmeal on hand, and I used the last of it last week. I'm like, oh no, I need to get some more made. Cornmeal is made out of dried corn that is then ground. And I am just going to use sweet corn. You can use all different kinds of corn, but I found that this is super bright and super flavorful, so I stick with super sweet corn. Looking at these trays, I always line them with a mesh. This is a food grade mesh because the holes on these trays are too big for things like corn, and so this is going to hold your food onto that tray to dry it. Now, this is frozen. There is no need to thaw it. It is 10 ounces, and I'm going to spread the entire bag onto one tray. Now, I have 6 trays, so I'm going to take 6 bags and fill up my dehydrator. When you use these trays, you want there to be a little bit of a lip on the top of each rack. That way your corn has a barrier that's not going to fall off or roll off. So the other side of this tray is completely level. This one, it has a little bit of a ridge to hold your food on. This is just a cheap little dehydrator. It was less than $100, but some things that you want to look for. First off, this is a metal box. It is not one of those plastic round ones. And because of that, you have a huge fan on the back. It has 6 trays that are metal. I have full control of both temperature and time. I can turn it on, I can adjust the temperature, and when that time is finished, it will shut off automatically. Dehydrating is one of the easiest ways to preserve food. All I'm going to do is spread out this frozen corn, just like that. Make sure it's all on there. If you have any big pieces, like I just had that one, I break it on down and spread it out. It doesn't have to be completely perfect. You just want to spread it out pretty good. Just like that. I'm going to put this tray into my dehydrator. Just put it on, slide it in. Just like that. Then I come over here to the controls and I turn it on. Now, it automatically goes to 10 hours. I don't want 10 hours. I want more like 6. So set it for 6 hours, then hit it again. Now I set the temperature. Automatically starts at 158. Oops, I want about 122. And it will start on its own. When it's finished, it will completely shut off. All my trays are loaded, and it is going to be running for 6 hours. Now, I have this in my kitchen. It's a very snowy day, but if you're doing something that's really stinky, such as garlic or onions, you may want to put it outside on your porch because the odors can be strong. Corn, on the other hand, I think smells wonderful. All right, here we are in the afternoon, and there's the mountain that we couldn't see this morning, but look at all this snow. We have at least 6 inches, maybe up to 8. Fortunately, our snow has suddenly turned to freezing rain, so I don't think we're going to get much more accumulation. And it's not really that fun out here right now. And this is the first time since early this morning we can even see the barn or the mountain beyond it. We have gotten so much snow so quickly. It is the next day, and all of this corn is completely dried out. I want you to listen to how crispy it is. You don't want any moisture in that when you grind it. In the past, I always used my hand crank grinder, but I am so excited. I purchased this NutriMill Classic over the summer, and today was the first time I have ever used it, and let me tell you, I am loving this mill. This is the NutriMill that I purchased. It is the Classic, and I was able to get it over the summer when it was really on sale. I remember getting a good price for it. We will be using it for our cornmeal, but we're also going to use it for wheat berries and for millet to make flour out of both. I went through the directions, and the very first thing you needed to do was run something through it and then discard it. So what I started with was white rice, and it made a white powder, but that was getting all the residue and everything else from manufacturing off it. So then I ran one batch of cornmeal through it. I am going to do small batches. Each one of these trays, as you remember, was one bag of 10-ounce sweet corn, organic. After it's dried, each one of these racks equals 1 cup. To use this mill, you're just going to pour your corn into the hopper. This is what it looks like at this point. I have just put all my dried corn into the top of this mill. I ran one batch through it, kind of fiddling around with the adjustments to figure out exactly how coarse or fine I wanted my cornmeal. At this point, it looks like I want the top button straight up. That is the motor. And then when I turn this on, I am going to turn it more to the right. I want to put the lid on. Now, I'm not going to run it on the camera because I will be honest, it is very, very loud. Now, as far as mills, I'm sure it's one of the quieter ones, but it runs pretty loud. So I'll start it. But I'm going to shut it right off. I'm going to continue to add each one of these one at a time for a total of 6 cups of dried corn. One feature that I'm liking about this mill is that if you don't have it in all the way, it's not going to say yes. You got to continue to push it in, still saying no, until it snaps. There. And now it says yes, so you know it is put back together correctly. And this is how much cornmeal that those racks of dried corn made. So what I'm going to do now is fill up some jars and see how much it comes to. Making cornmeal is a 3-step process. First, we dehydrated all the corn. Second, I milled it, and now we are going to preserve it. And what I found is the easiest way to preserve your cornmeal is to vacuum seal it. I'm going to seal 3 half-pint containers of cornmeal. I have this one left. This is 1/4 of a pint, and this is actually a peanut butter jar lid. So once you're finished with that peanut butter, keep those lids. They fit perfect on this regular size mouth jars. This little jar of cornmeal is for short-term storage. In other words, this one is going up in my cupboard, and I will be using this one first, so there's really no need to vacuum seal it. A lot of people have asked me, what do you use your cornmeal for? For me, it is a non-bioengineered way of putting breading on chicken before I air fry it. So what I do is I mix just a little bit, maybe 2 tablespoons of cornmeal with organic flour and then spices like garlic, salt, paprika. I am going to vacuum seal these other 3 containers, and these are half pints. You need to place a barrier between your vacuum sealer and your powdered items such as cornmeal or flour. So what I've done is I've taken a small piece of paper towel. I'm going to fold that in half and just push that across the top and between my cornmeal and the sealer. This is what it looks like when you have that in between. You don't want it sticking out over the edge. Then wipe off the top rim and put on a flat. This is a regular size. Next, I'm going to put my jar sealer on top of that lid and push down until it snaps on top and plug in my vacuum sealer. Turn on the power of your vacuum sealer and push accessory. This food saver will shut off all on its own and take off the sealer. You want to check the seal, and the way you do that is to make sure the center is indented, so it has gone down in there, and then pull on the edge of this lid. You should not be able to remove it with your fingers. Put a ring on it and write on the lid what you have. So I'm going to put my cornmeal and date it for 1 year from today. It should look like this. Organic cornmeal, best by January 2025. But what I've seen in the past is I will use this jar up probably before then. Do the same process for the last 2 jars. And there you have it. These 4 little jars are going to last a long time as a meat coating for our family. I feel a whole lot better knowing that they are 100% organic. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Have a blessed day, everybody. Bye-bye.